this man, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight.
Bond for Lil Durk in federal court on a for hire charge where he faces the possibility of life in prison.
There's only two ways that Lil Durk is rocking out of that federal courtroom on 2 feet. A jury of 12 people says that he is not guilty, or President Trump pardons him. There's no other way.
The startling information regarding Durk's prison sentence was recently revealed during the court hearing, all because those in his immediate vicinity began to turn on him. People at the hearing today said that Durk had cropped his dreadlocks and was noticeably slimmer, an indication that things are becoming really serious. Significant upgrades were released. The judge took his request for a bill of particulars under advisement after rejecting his motions to disqualify and dismiss for vagueness. By Friday, both parties may provide additional answers. Additionally, the move to dismiss Count 4 is being considered. Outside the courtroom, a lawyer gave the judge a clear explanation.
Learned that the rap artist Lil Durk just had his motion to dismiss his for hire case denied. To be honest, I'm not that surprised. Let me tell you guys something. There's only two ways that Lil Durk is rocking out of that federal courtroom on 2 feet. A jury of 12 people says that he is not guilty, or President Trump pardons him. There's no other way that Durk is walking out of that court free. That judge is not going to be dismissing any key evidence. He's not going to be dismissing any motions. He's not going to do anything that significantly helps Lil Durk walk out of that courtroom without having a trial. Now, how and why am I so sure of this? Well, here's the first thing I want to tell you. Most federal judges used to be federal prosecutors, exact prosecutors that are prosecuting Durk. A lot of judges used to stand in that very position. Federal prosecutors can be very biased people, and very rarely, once they put on that black robe and become a judge, do they get rid of those biases, okay? That judge very likely probably thinks that Durk is guilty. He just can't be the one they actually
shutting down, preventing Durk from trying to dismiss the case. He will undoubtedly go to trial, and things don't look good. In response to what this might mean for Durk, the streets and creators are buzzing.
Durk already told me I wasn't supposed to come back up here with that last.
Now look what happened to him.
That man got kids. You talking about look what happened to him?
Definitely not happy about him.
I wouldn't be happy if you go to jail, Adam, because I know you got daughter. Break down.
There's multiple people who are no longer there for their kids as a result of that Durk allegedly called in.
Until they put that on black and white, sir. Stop throwing stuff on a black man who's trying to do something right for the community right now.
The feds have already put out a lot of information about this.
You don't have to put it out. You don't have to put it out. So this is a major platform.
You're not the boss of me. We talk about rap on here. I think it is well within our jurisdiction to talk about the fact
that what type of police is
been
this?
alleged to have ordered them.
This
free smirk though.
Free smirk. But also
maybe police. It's a platform. There's some police.
Just sit down for a little bit and decide, hey, maybe I'm not anybody else.
We don't have no proof that we don't.
And here's the worst part, though. The worst news was that Durk allegedly ordered hits on OLAC members because they weren't taking revenge for King Von, according to a text group discussion that a spy gave to the feds. The receipts are in the evidence files, and a witness for the prosecution claimed Durk gave the orders directly. Durk and Monik, meanwhile, were at odds about their inaction. In response, WAC 100 essentially said,
basically saying he's guilty of for hire. And the only thing that, like, yes, some of these things look suspect. Why'd you go there? Why are these people going there? Why'd you send this message? But nothing. There's no message that they got that says where Durk says, y'all that Quando yet? Nothing says that.
You missing the point. Okay. They got a witness already cooperating on that. Been had one. We just ain't seen what they said. It's 3 years. One of the cooperating.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
so
that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know what the I don't know. You don't need too much more than that. One of the is cooperating. Then in the paperwork, you got the conversation. They say they had it in and out. The other two was figuring out how they getting paid.
It's not. His life doesn't appear to be going well. However, things became even more chaotic inside the courtroom. It appears that the purported informant may have been deceiving the authorities. According to some accounts, Durk might even be acquitted following the discovery of the primary witness in fresh court records. Totally changed his narrative. The witness initially claimed that there was no bounty. Although he is attempting to disassociate himself from the case, he now asserts that there were sources who believe D might have been playing the feds.
all this evidence y'all got against Durk got nothing to do with me. Why you got me charged with Durk? And that doesn't mean he's going against Durk. That just means he wants his case severed. And I'm telling you, if it's severed, it helps Durk. Because one of the main connective tissue to this conspiracy is saying that Durk told Dee Dee to hire. Dee Dee saying, I ain't get told to hire nobody. And I ain't hiring nobody. What you talking about? Why would I hire someone? That's his thing.
So Chance might actually... It's probably not him. The federal government isn't giving up, though. For the strike on Wando Rondo's group, they are gathering evidence against Durk. They even declared that Durk might be responsible for the 2021 attempt on Condo Rondo's life at a Georgia petrol station. According to the feds, Durk's time frame of his messages is exactly in line with the crime. Durk says things like, they're on my page like Slide for Vaughn in a podcast clip. I am aware that they are making fun of me. Later on, though, he acknowledges that he no longer sees those remarks. Durk seemed to be acknowledging that he slid for Vaughn and eliminated Lil P, Condo's pal. Meanwhile, Durk's attorneys continue to fight for a bond. Durk's dad recently revealed some significant information. Durk may be freed on bond.
My son, at least for the third time. This time it was very fair. The judge was very fair. He wasn't pro-prosecutor. He wasn't pro-defense, but he was pro-justice. So he listened to all the evidence, and he's going to give a ruling in the next few days about what his position is as far as the bond. But we were very pleased at how it turned out. So continue, family, friends, and fans, continue to keep us in your prayers, and we thank you, and inshallah, God willing, this be victorious for us, that we have a good ruling in our favor.
This is his third chance, and his solicitors gave it their all, presenting a strong case that the judge cannot just reject. Durk's situation is beginning to improve. After Durk's team demonstrated that the evidence didn't match up, even the prosecutors were forced to remove it from the case. One piece even said, they got an addy, referring to Durk encircling the queue. They knew where it was. Check out the news. Observe your son yelling no. However, these lines were really composed prior to the Lil P incident. However, it is consistent with Condo Rondo's response at the scene, which is why 3 individuals who police claim were part of a Savannah rapper's entourage. Cameras caught the fallout after it occurred in Los Angeles. This man, who was a passenger in that vehicle, was in a panic at the scene. In a recent interview, Durk's attorney provided an update, stating that the accusations against a joke to him. The situation is as follows. He wasn't named in the indictment, correct? There was an unindicted person after it, who named other people. Then, 3 weeks later, he was named in what is known as the first superseding indictment. The indictment was the same, but Durk Banks was now named in place of the unidentified individual. And this is the crucial bit. Take action. There was just one new fact in the second indictment, also known as the first superseding indictment. One new fact was that it claimed Durk had made a video celebrating and profiting from this, essentially stating that the case was weak. However, the public is aware that the case is still ongoing. The fact that a new snitch is on the way simply makes things worse. Durk. Additionally, TF Van's files were updated. Since he is no longer in detention, it is likely that he accepted a plea deal and is currently under house arrest. Things are quickly getting hotter. When a fan created a tweet highlighting something outrageous, things became even more bizarre. Why does Durk routinely post live on Instagram during tragedies? He went on live the minute King Von, Lil Pab, and FBG did. The fan remarked, Duck died. Fans believe Durk jumped on Instagram Live to prove he wasn't engaged in the crime, and the streets are buzzing. However, King Von's father wasn't done stirring things up. He asserted that Durk was involved in the planning of the Lil Pab and Von hits. I'll give it to you. I have all the parts, and it's a back door. I will only tell you that. Vonnie was asked, is it open? By Durk. It's off the hinges, Vonnie informed him. Hold on. Are you referring to the Von similar to King Von? Pay close attention. Was it open? Durk asked Vonnie when the payment was paid to Tiny Tim the following day or the same day. Was it open? He asked him. Was it open? Was exactly what he said. It's off the hinges, he informed him. Do you mean that Vonnie used King Von's back door? No way. That was accurate. I merely uttered something that you heard. You know what? Motive is a prerequisite, right? I have bankers. I have bankers who will provide testimony, thing, or will enter into a contract or make a declaration to you, informing you that this is what he had and how much money he had. It's this, that, and another. First and foremost, you need motivation. The lawyer texted me to let me know who alerted Durk about Van before he did, and he said that Durk was also aware of it. This raises the question of why Durk would want Van removed. However, it makes more sense when you learn that Durk and Van were involved in the same criminal case. Durk's allegations were dismissed, and a private settlement was reached shortly after Van's death. Fans wonder how Durk was able to make the case vanish so quickly because the court record is sealed. Why would Durk desire Vaughn? I'll give it to you. To begin with, you did not sign. You did not give up your rights. You're not in any 360-degree deal. First and foremost, you cannot invite anyone into the firm. If you do, they will overtake you. How come I ignore you when you bring me to the table? Nobody wants their cheap position to be taken, do they? That's intriguing. The guy was a prick. Dude was a dude. The boys were being signed by him. He was a sign. He was not. That's intriguing. I did discover that Van had no such contractual obligations to Durk, which was, come on, dude, he didn't even have a contract. How is this a friend of his? Hey, do you think your man would be sitting here with $300,000 worth of jewelry and not have an attorney? He remarked while lying on the Breakfast Club. He was represented by a public defender. In the meantime, the case continues to expand. Rappers are responding to the addition of a new snitch by saying things like, please tell me this isn't real. The informant. Why would Durk be interested in Bond? Let me give you this, man. To begin with, you did not sign, you did not give up your rights. You're not in a 360-degree transaction. First and foremost, you cannot invite anyone into the firm. If you do, they will overtake you. How come I ignore you when you bring me to the table? Nobody wants their cheap position to be taken, do they? That's intriguing. The guy was a prick. He was signing the boys, buddy. It's interesting that he was long with no. I did discover that Van had no such contractual obligations to Durk, which was, come on, dude. He didn't even have a contract. How is this a friend of his? Hey, do you think your man would be sitting here with $300,000 worth of jewelry on and not have an attorney? He remarked, lying on Breakfast Club. He was represented by a public defender, Ted, the younger brother of FD. He doesn't participate in F operations very often. Ted, however, has a lot of knowledge because his brother is Durk's primary batter. Unfortunately for Durk, Ted's error was the only reason he became entangled in this issue.
Really? What about that? A man had it with an extended clip. That's cool though, right?
He was arrested for having a firearm in a convenience store. Once he hit the police station, Ted instantly folded and started spilling names, telling cops he'd snitch on anyone who committed crimes.
Hey, stop it. Stop it.
I tell you about the money, I swear to God, I tell you about the money, it's my son, I tell you about everything, I swear to God, I tell you, I will tell you.
This just made the case against Durk 1347. The case against Durk became much more complicated as a result. Inside the jail, everything just became more intense. According to reports, Ted began talking to an officer while sobbing uncontrollably in the waiting cell. I can't understand, therefore you have to calm down for me. Unwind, unwind. Man, what number are you referring to? We'll see what we can do for you. Okay, check out what we can do for you. You must. Man, calm down, come on, unwind. Give me. No, I'm stating what you're discussing. I'm attempting to understand that the pressure is genuine. Durk's solicitors are changing tactics in the meanwhile. Since the prosecution currently has sufficient evidence to file significant charges, they are attempting to free him. Durk submitted a fresh request to have the second indictment dismissed due to ambiguity. He's requesting a bill of particulars to explain all the purportedly coded language he used if that doesn't work. Durk's team emphasized the type of the bounty, the date, time, and circumstances in the court documents. They want the prosecution to demonstrate that Durk offered Wando Rondo a bounty, along with details about when and what the prize was. The situation in jail is becoming increasingly more worrisome. After a CEO found a cell phone in Durk's cell, he was placed in solitary confinement.
Lil Durk in a hole for basically some BS And right now we're gonna show the paperwork. They saying that he was caught with a cell phone, and basically that's not true. They trying to keep him in a hole. Do a lot of things that they shouldn't be doing or whatever, but they're trying to make a point because they saying that me and him is privileged and we got so many things going on, and it's a lot of BS.
Furthermore, this morning Durk got into a fight within the jail, which even caused Lil Baby to respond. People in the Durk area are also being targeted, as the streets have noticed. There are severe concerns because Glee was allegedly walking by at the same moment Durk was being attacked. Who is truly seeking retribution? The tension continues to rise quickly. The most obvious solution appears to be beyond, and the streets are pointing fingers. Rondo and his group, they even made interviews regarding the circumstances public. Durk attempted to maintain composure on the day he was targeted, claiming that all they wanted was peace. However, a lot of people believe that was a facade, as if they weren't truly angry. Hits were allegedly being ordered behind the scenes. Lil P and King Von's acquaintance, Condo Rondo's close pal, discussed it. No, like if I was merely defending my younger brother. How did you feel when you eventually discovered that it was King Von? Damn, he still would have been alive if Brian had done that foolish. Last night, I thought, I was like that. Yeah, I don't know the type of person I am, I said. I mean, I'm a modest person. I don't think it's disrespectful for his mother to say that since I could easily get involved in that kind of stuff and be a clout-chasing type, even though I'm not. Although I consider myself to be humble, it seems like they've never shown that. That would never have occurred in that manner. Supporting the rumors, a member of Rondo's team made a similar statement during another interview. On my end, they have children and a mother who genuinely loves them. Ultimately, my friend, all of this nonsense that we are discussing is foolish and could have been resolved in a completely other manner. It may have been handled legitimately in a musical manner to the point where a song and $3 million could have been released, or something similar, increasing the ambiguity of the situation. Solitary confinement exacerbates Durk's situation. It immediately eliminates any opportunity to form relationships or exert influence within the prison. Durk's attorney also joined in, stating that there is an opportunity to use the first modification. There is a claim that this is against the First Amendment. Could you discuss that? Yes, definitely. You know, I'm expressing myself. In a rap record or any other type of record, I may say whatever I want. You may also go back in time and find pop, country, and R&B tracks that discuss a variety of things. Simply put, there's a perception that because hip-hop is so glorifying, we will utilize these things to punish them. Does this imply, however, that the First Amendment's guarantee of free expression has vanished? No, not at all. He is free to rap about anything he wants. Furthermore, this does not imply that simply because you're... However, the streets are aware that things are getting hotter quickly, and Durk's every action is being closely watched. Bond is definitely out of the question for Durk. After allegations surfaced that the feds want him to go bankrupt and give up his property in order to be considered for bond, the judge is not going to allow him out. They are concerned that he would use his funds to put bounties on witnesses.
Lil Durk, let me tell you about what options he has left and why the bond was denied this time. Now, he's in federal court on a for-hire charge where he faces the possibility of life in prison. What that means is under the federal law, it is presumed that you do not get a bond because the charge and the penalty are so serious. So your lawyer has to go out there and show why you should get a bond. Now, ultimately, what the district judge decided to deny the bond on was a couple of factors. There's a couple $1 million being put up, but it's not all being put up by Durk. Some of it is from the label, and ultimately Durk has a lot more money and assets than what's being put up. So if I let him out on bond and he tries to flee, he's going to have tons of assets and money at his disposal.
And that fear isn't random. Just look at what happened with Jam. He disappeared, and no one's heard from him. I named it F Jam. I was wired. Very ironic name. Jam is 12 years old. 12 years. Went out, interviewed, said he kept it real, brought him cars, and gave him $50,000, right? This made mention that there's no smart on his name. He has never been a rat. Caught a gun case, but event streets are buzzing, wondering if Durk might have tried to make a move on him, and there's more heat coming. The feds are watching everyone around Durk closely, making sure nothing else goes down. This case is far from over, and the stakes are higher than ever. If you're ready to see the street stories like never before, join our family. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and make sure you don't miss a single drop of heat. Smash that like button, share this with all your homeboys, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Tomorrow's upload is going to be even crazier, even deeper, and absolutely unmissable. We'll catch you in the next one right here at Rap Uncovered, where the truth of the streets lives.